Somewhere between fear and faith, between panic and purpose, lies a door. The key? Shock. Hello, seekers of truth. Ever feel like something's always buzzing under the surface? Like you're about to be hit with something shocking. Even if nothing's actually happening, that low-grade panic you feel, that's not your fault. It's part of your spiritual evolution. Before I get into the details of the shadow, it's always great to start with a good story. The parable titled, The Storm Called Me by Name. At this point, please close your eyes and visualize the story I am about to share. There once was a young shepherd named Lyron, who lived on a high, wind-swept mountain where the storms always came without warning. Lyron feared them more than anything. He had seen them strike trees into flames, watched them tear animals from the earth with rage and roar. His heart was already wary from anticipating the next sky-shaking blow. To stay safe, he mapped every cloud, studied the wind, and built stronger and stronger shelters. But no matter what he did, the storm always came. One night, the mountain cracked open with a thunder so violent it threw him from his bed. Lightning struck the ground just feet away, illuminating everything. His heart raced. He wanted to run, but something inside him whispered, "Be still." And for the first time, Lyron did not flee. He stood outside as the sky split in two. He stood inside the chaos, and something else split open too. His mind, his fear, and then his heart. He didn't understand it at first, but later he would say, "The storm didn't come to destroy me. It came to wake me up to who I truly am." And from that day on, he never feared lightning again, because he carried its power inside of him. Welcome to the exploration of the 51st challenge, a frequency that holds one of the most misunderstood and potent forces of transformation in the entire spectrum. At the shadow level, this 51st challenge manifests as agitation. This isn't just stress or worry or restlessness. Agitation is cellular panic. It's the body's deep ancestral response to disruption, shock, and perceived spiritual danger. It often feels like a low-grade electrical current running through the nervous system, like something's about to go wrong. You may not know what, but you feel it. Agitation is evolution's prod. It is the uncomfortable impulse that signals change is near, whether or not we are ready. It is both a warning and the invitation. The complementary shadow that pairs often with this specific challenge with the shadow of agitation is the shadow of unease and its fear of the unknown. Its repressive nature is hesitant and its reactive nature impetuous. So you can see how the shadow of unease and agitation work together to keep us from being still within, from being in the eye of the storm of everything that's going on inside of us and potentially outside of us, so that we can break the cycle of always feeling like a victim of shock, so that we can shift to becoming the awe in the eye and choose how we want to transmute the energy. For those interested in doing deeper personal alchemy and wish to have a means of accelerating an understanding of shadow work, over the last 3 to 5 years, I have collected a wealth of information from various esoteric systems, namely the I Ching, human design, gene keys, the chakra systems, and astrology, as well as integrating them with the human genetic code. And in this chart, you will find the details of all the different shadows, all the different fears, the specific fears that fuel those specific shadows, all 64, all in relationship to each codon. And in this wheel, you will find 4 legends on each corner because they can't all fit on one corner or one side to make it a nice, evenly balanced square. So here is the statements from each zodiac sign, so you can see. And then we have the legend for each chakra. You'll notice that there are more than 7, and because there are more than 7, because it is including the spleen as a means to detect threats. So there's an intuitional center there. There's also a center of willpower called the thyroid, because when we are born, the thyroid is literally almost, if not as big as our heart. So we have to accommodate that. And on the other side of this, you will also find an understanding of the I Ching, hexagram system, the different trigrams, the relationship to the three-dimensional plane, the yin and the yang, and how each of the 6 lines are affiliated with different archetypes, thanks to the human design and or gene key system. And lastly, you will also find the human genetic sequence chart for all the amino acids associated with the human genetic code. But furthermore, you will also find in this chart all the different zodiacs, all 12, mixed with the human design gene key chart. Bear with me, my graphics card is not as fast as other people's on their computer, but you will see all the different fears, all the different shadows, and how they relate to each chakra in those colorful little dots. So you can see how it affects each energy center in the body and how each of them have their own repressive and reactive statements because there are 6 expressions in each challenge. Therefore, you will also find those 6 lines in there, all with their own repressive and reactive statements, their associated dilemmas from that specific shadow, which eventually will clear up, the gift from making the right choices regularly and practicing that gift with its own unique self-empowerment statement. So as you learn to vacate the trapped emotions such as sadness, fear, anger, shame, and guilt, and you reorient towards true self-alignment and honoring the intuition and inner authority that you possess, it will lead you towards the grace specific to that challenge. So if you would like to learn more about this and or you would like to download this file for your own personal means of translating your specific challenges in the human design system or in the gene key system, it is all there for you. All you have to go is to my website and download this PDF file. It's about 50 megabytes in size. I hope you enjoy this and hope you enjoy this brief glimpse into this massive PDF with all the details about all the specific challenges you'll have in your personal self-realization path. In order to find this PDF, a link will be found down below in the description of the YouTube video. When using that elaborate and vast chart of information, you can use the human design apps found in the App Store on Google Play so that you can choose whichever speaks to you most. And as you choose whichever human design app works best for you, you can then use that towards the chart. So you get your information and your numbers. And then after that, you can use the chart as reference. For example, I use the human design app, which helps me see the specific numbers that I need to see in the top right-hand corner. The red are the unconscious. These are the ones that were imprinted when the soul decided to remain anchored in the body about 90 days before you were born, between the second and the third trimester. The black numbers indicate the conscious, more aware challenges that you know you have in your current life, based on your survival challenges and your adversities currently going on in your life. You can also find that same application in the Human Design App Store for iPhone and or iOS before you start using the chart that you have purchased online. Thank you very much. And if you ever need more information on this and you wanted a free consultation in understanding the current challenges in your life and how it relates to human design, feel free to reach out through the links below. You can also visit thegenekeys.com. There, you will also find a different kind of chart. It relates to the same challenges and same numerical sequences as found in the I Ching and Human Design. And there you'll be able to find a free profile link where you can then enter in your personal information in this field and then have a look at your specific gene key profiles and understand your genus sequence, your Venus sequence in opening up your heart, your love sequence, prosperity, and finding inner harmony. Thank you for watching this short introduction into the Wheel of Evolutionary Change and the chart that I've shown you in brief. And hopefully through those apps and through this PDF, you will find a way to decode the challenges you face and understand how to make the best choices for you and everyone you were meant to impact positively in your life. Now back to the shadow work and the evolutionary change in this video. The repressive nature of this shadow is cowardly, a withdrawal from life's discomforts, numbing out, assuming defeat. The reactive nature of this shadow is hostile, hyper-defensiveness, using force to prevent vulnerability. But here's something I can prompt you with. What am I afraid to feel, and what defenses have been built against it? The dilemma in this is harshness. Transformation cannot be forced. The harder we push away discomfort, the louder it screams. The key is to witness it, not suppress or attack it. Here's a bridge statement towards the gift. I see my inner turbulence not as the enemy, but as a signal of transformation. And then you can make the conscious choice. Transmute the agitation into initiative. Shift from reaction to sacred action. Choose to take one small brave step that arises from love and presence instead of fear. And I'm going to hand you another statement that's self-empowering. I meet the unknown with the creative fire of my soul. I am willing to be changed. Let's take a step back from the emotional layer and look at this specific challenge through the lens of physical evolution. Historically, shock meant survival. Our ancient ancestors survived by being alert, ready for danger. This biological wiring lives in us today. It manifests in startle responses, anxiety, and a near constant anticipation of what might go wrong. But as we evolve, we're not just surviving in the wild anymore. We are spiritually maturing, and the kind of shocks we now face are more internal. A breakup with someone that's important to us, a job loss, a spiritual crisis, the death of a dream, sudden news that collapses our worldview. These events still trigger our flight or fight response, but they also initiate us if we let them. What this 51st challenge tells us: every shock is a doorway. It may not be kind, but it is precise. So why does this shadow even exist? Why do we suffer agitation? Because awakenings aren't always soft. Sometimes they come like thunder. Sometimes the shell must crack before the light gets in. The shadow of agitation exists to shake us loose from old identities, from comfort zones that have calcified, and from beliefs that can no longer carry us forward. The 51st Evolutionary Challenge doesn't promise peace. It promises potential, the potential to evolve beyond fear and into a new embodiment of courage and truth. Agitation is a signpost that we're close to a breakthrough, not break down, break through. Shifting from fear to grace. Here's the deeper truth. Beneath the storm of fear, there's always a field of grace. The fear says, we are not ready. You can't handle this. You're about to lose everything. But the grace whispers, you're being initiated. Your soul calls this forth. Let the fear pass through, but stay present. The 51st challenge teaches us that shock is not the enemy, it is the alchemical fire that ignites transformation. To shift from fear into grace, we don't need to run from the storm. We need to stand inside it, awake, not to control it, not to predict it, but to allow it to crack us open so something can be born. So if you carry this gene key or this gate in your human design chart, or if life has recently felt like it struck you with lightning, know this: you're not being punished, you're being called. Called to awaken, to evolve, to rise into the kind of truth that doesn't come from comfort, but from clarity, born in the storm. Agitation is not your enemy, it is the signal, the initiation, the beginning. Shifting from reaction to initiative. The magic happens when you stop running from the shock and learn to lean into it. You can start with one step, what we call initiative. This is sacred action born not from panic, but from your presence. Here's an empowerment statement that you can use. I meet the unknown with the creative fire of my soul. Down below in the description, you will find more helpful insight regarding this shadow of agitation and the evolutionary sequence of transmuting it. In the description, you'll also find contact information, email address to reach out to me so that we can navigate the shock and the shadow agitation together through consultation and initiation. My website is also there, so you can learn more about me, what I do, how I do it, and why. Further down, you'll find support groups like spiritual divination systems, so you can navigate many more shadows with more confidence and more of your presence. The next one is emotional intelligence and mastery, so you can learn the benefits of shock, panic, and anxiety instead of trying to avoid them at all costs. And lastly, emotional trauma release, so you can learn how to release various experiences and trapped emotions of shock, overwhelm, agitation, panic, anxiety, and the like, so you can make space for your light to crack through from releasing all that traumatic energy and attract less shocking loops in your life. Thank you for watching this video in its entirety. God bless you on your journey. Namaste and good life to you all.